This show is already excelling where a lot of sci-fi shows have failed, and they put a hook at the end of the episode to reel you back in for the next one. Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. Finally, the chains are off. I can openly talk about this show, spoilers and all. Wow. The end of episode 2 had Daniela 2 getting shot in the head by the folks at Velocity. Well, that escalated quickly. I wanted to scream that from the rooftop. You don't quite know what you got in the show when you're willing to take characters off the board, prime characters, important characters. Now, granted, we'll probably see different variations of a Daniela, but to actually say, hey, we're going to start killing some folks, kudos. Kudos. A lot of times, some sci-fi, some shows get stuck, and they're like, these characters, these are people you came to see, these are people who are known here. We're going to continue to keep giving you these same actors over and over again, not really taking any chances or any challenges. And this one, right out the gate, much appreciated. This picks up right after the end of that episode. This one is called The Box. Fitting title because we actually get to see the apparatus that made all of this transpire. So Leighton Vance is the man who is in charge of Velocity, or at least was in charge with the co-help of Jason number 2. He is calling Amanda, Jason number 2's wife here, and telling him that they got him. He's captured, but there was a bit of a mix up. We shot Daniela. Oops. She's a bit distraught about that. She's like, that wasn't the plan. He's like, I know that wasn't the plan, but things got awry. That's what happened. At that point, that Leighton feels that Jason, this version of Jason, is a danger to himself. He's like, I don't know what happened in that box, but since you've come back, you've been different, and I think it is our best option right now to keep you restrained until you sort of get a better sense of who you truly are and what it is that you created. Like those, both of those things are important. We found out that it becomes more important because Leighton really wants him to remember how the hell this worked. If you're back, something worked, and I need you to figure that out quickly because I want to jump my ass through there too. Jason number 2 in our prime world is whining and dining Daniela. He is making up for lost time. He is spending extravagantly, which is should be a bit of a red flag to them, in that he's spending above the means that I think they have as a teacher. He's spending as if he is the big physicist in his world. He's spending that type of money here, but he's spending on $100 bottles of wine. But she's kind of like, well, I'm not saying that I don't like this, but something's different with you. They get spotted by the friend Barbara while out at dinner, and we see a lot of these moments where Jason number 2 has to sort of get a name check or face check. So he's doing it as slightly as he can to be like, hey, who's that? Who's that? That's Barbara. We have a dinner, remember? And I don't remember that. So there's a dinner date that's happening at their home that obviously, this is one of those things that I don't think Jason 2 really thought about in all of this. Is like, hey, I'm going to take over his life, but I don't know. I'm jumping in media res. So I know that Daniela in this world is with me and we have a child, but I don't know the day to day things. I don't know simple things in the last episode, like the toothbrush. She started brushing with her toothbrush. She's like, oh, all of these things separately don't seem like that big of a deal. When you start putting them all together, I would hope that Daniela is smart enough to sort of start catching on. Like some of this just doesn't add up. Um, if not Daniela, his son Charlie will probably pick it up faster. In Earth 2, Detective Mason comes to talk to Leighton and kind of snoop around, get some information on what it is that Velocity is. And Leighton throws some mumble jumble. Like, yeah, we're R&D. He's like, I know what that is. Going the back and forth, give the full text of it, but still says a lot of nothing with it all. But here it's important that we learn that Leighton parents died when he was young. So he was raised by someone else. So I think Yeah, there might be something like for worldly views, but I think there's a little piece of Layton that wants to see if this box works, so that he can go through there to go. If there's a world or a version of this that he gets to hang out and deal with his true parents. Um, I don't see him skipping on that. But Detective Mason brings up a point that there have been several people that have gone missing from this place. Four to be exact, but Jason seems to be one that has come back. But there's still three people. One of them being Blair, who used to work here. Do you know where she's at? Um, and Layden sort of gives her the runaround, but we learn that Blair disappeared around the same time that Jason did. So they both went into the box at the same time. Detective Mason does give off that she knows that Jason is back. He's no longer disappeared because he popped up at the hospital and was seen at an art show. So she's going to be on the trail, and so it's not going to be long where she finds out that Daniela is murdered. So whatever they have going on in Velocity, they need to go ahead and speed this process up because those screws are going to start coming down tighter and tighter real quick. In talking with Amanda, Layden sort of lets on that the plan was to bring back both Jason and Daniela alive. Unfortunately, Dawn, who is sort of the right hand of Layden for Velocity, has suffered from some PTSD and sort of a bit of a hot dad, trigger finger, and she's the one who just opened fire on Daniela. So that wasn't the order wasn't to kill her; it was to bring them both in. While Amanda and Layden are talking, kind of discussing like we don't know how he got back, something's off. Jason Prime says through the security camera because he's been locked up this whole time. Says, "I'm ready to remember now. Can you show me what I've made?" They take him out of his room and they go to escort him to the box and the location of where it's at. At that point, Jason starts asking questions like, "What is it that we're protecting down here that we will be willing to kill for?" And Layden gets on like, "Well, that wasn't so much the goal. We weren't trying to kill, but there are things down here that we all, you included, Jason, would lay down our lives to protect." Um, and so they show them, and it's the box. It's a big ass box. That's what it is. But it's a big black box that apparently four folks have walked through at some point in time, and Jason is the only one that has come back. Blair apparently was the first person to go through, and then two other folks were just volunteers. So that's how they sort of been able to sweep this under the rug. Really, the only two people that were known were both Jason and Blair. Jason's back, so Blair's the only one that's actively still missing. I have a feeling that Blair may be have had been involved with Detective Mason in some form or fashion for her to be so much of a dog on bone for this. She seemed to care less about Jason and more about Blair. She's like, if they both disappeared at the same time, now she's like, now I need to follow out where Jason is because I need to find out where Blair is. I think there's something to why she is actively trying to find Blair. But yeah, and the volunteers nobody cares about because nobody knows their name. They're kind of like just puppets. We get a little bit of a demonstration and a explanation somewhat of the box in that when you go in, there's no recording inside the box. Like you just lose function. So we've never really got to see what people see when they go inside the box. We then see a video of Jason Prime watching security camera where he sees Jason 2 go into the box, close, um, and then Jason Prime comes out. And you see people sort of running in either to try to stop or to try to get in or pull them, whoever is out. Because Jason 2 he wasn't supposed to take the mission. Blair went in first, they didn't get him back, so he then subsequently went on. Layden believes it's because he wanted to go after Blair and see what happened next, but we find out later that there's a little bit more to the story uh, of why he just decided to up and leave. Jason 2 is trying to source information from Daniel, taking him out on a trip, just kind of giving him a little early birthday gift, if you will. But he's more so just trying to get some fact finding mission of like, who's this person? We got a dinner date. Who are these people? Who's this family? Can you give me some, in a really awkward way to have a conversation with his son, but also to build a sort of rapport of like, I need to know who these players are. In that he sees Blair name pop up, and so that sort of registered like this world has a Blair and just still in the circle, if you will. We then get a scene where Jason Prime and Amanda actually have a conversation. They actually meet. It's at this point that Amanda's sort of like, "You don't remember me, do you?" It's like, "I don't." Then let's have an actual conversation about who I am to you. And it's at this point you can kind of realize that, yeah, she's the psychiatrist of all of this. She's so much as says so, but the way that she handles it, she's like, "Look, let's put this on a level playing field." The way she speaks to him, the way she handles herself, she is not of the same scientific mind that everybody else is, but she is clearly there um, for a purpose, and which is lays out that some of these people who are going into this or coming out of this are not the same, and so she's there to sort of be a debrief or mental check for people who enter this program. Um, and then they start talking about the day before he went into the box, and they had been in an on and again, off again relationship back and forth. But on the day that this occurred, um, Jason Chu said that he saw his ex, Daniela, which sent him on a tailspin because he wasn't with her. He says nothing, no big deal, doesn't mean anything. She gets into a shower, and when she gets out of the shower, he's booking it over to the box to get in. So just seeing Jennifer Connelly, I'm telling you, she's, I get it. But just seeing Daniela just sort of triggered to him, like, yes, I've accomplished all of these things. I've done everything that I set out to do in this world. But if I can make this work, let me go see if I can get back to her. Let me see if I can. The one thing I regret not doing, let me go ahead and see if I can get that. So he beelines it over there and goes into the box before anybody can get a chance to stop him. It's at that point that Jason Prime says, "What if I'm not me, but the person everybody thinks that I am?" And whatever wording that is, however that is phrased, whatever that says, that triggers something to Amanda to the point where she's like, "Wait, hold on." I've either heard that before. She's either heard that before, or that was the out of what Jason, like Jason Chu would never say something like that. Maybe, I don't know, but it triggered to her that like something's off. And I need to get this man out of this situation. I don't know how yet, but I need to do so because he's not safe, and clearly something here is awry. Jason Prime has to be the great sociable host to people he doesn't know. So he's doing his best. Uh, Guess who? As people enter, he's starting conversations but not leading them because he doesn't want to get caught. But he's letting people sort of do the majority of the talking and interjecting where he can. But then Ryan shows up, and we didn't talk about it because it was a spoiler ish. But Ryan was ripped a new a hole in the last episode because Jason Chu wanted to shut him down and move him away so that the job proposal that Ryan gave in that world wasn't there. He's like, "Nope, I've already done all the job stuff. I'm now just living my life. I'm not going after that." He wants to push him away. But Daniela, number one, invited him. So that's how he wound up there. And they have a little bit of a moment. It's like, "Are we good? We good?" It's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to overstep." Ryan one says, "Hey, man, you're looking good." He's like, "Cool, thank you." Nobody quite is noticing that he is out of place outside of there are some things that he just does a little bit differently. He seems to carry himself in a better way. Jason too carries himself better than Jason Prime does, but no other things are really kicking off at this point in time, though they should. Leighton starts to interrogate Jason Prime inside the box, and with people watching, it's a box that has you can't see through it, out of it, but everybody else is looking in. And it's at this point that Leighton plays his hands like Leighton says, "I don't think you remember anything about who you are because you're not them or not the version of them that we know." And I think Amanda had figured that out as well, but she's not the one who gave him up. Leighton brings in that uh, Ryan, Ryan from that world, who's pretty much just giving them up. Uh, and she's like, "I know who you are. Like, where's my Jason? And what have you done with him?" Leighton calls Jason an imposter, And so that point that Jason Prime jumps over the table and punches him in the face, and then he's captured and tortured pretty bad. Layton just wants the keys to the box. He just wants to understand how it works, where it makes it tweak. How do we get this to fully work? And he's like, you may not be the Jason that knows how this works, but you probably have the innate ability somehow to figure it out. So let's freaking get to it and figure it out. As at that point, Jason Prime's like, I have no idea how this works. Like, I don't get it. Um, I got to a point, and I don't know the extra steps that were taken to sort of make this all work. Back at the dinner party on Prime, Daniela Prime asked Jason Chu about a location like that he really loved, and it seemed like for a moment he's kind of stuck in quicksand, saying I don't remember, but he's done enough cramming and studying to get that photo to remember that name. Um, and I don't think it was a trip up. I feel like at first I thought it was like, oh, is she trying to catch on? Maybe that wasn't the correct name, and she's trying to store up all this knowledge. But no, seemed to be right, and nothing sort of is the wiser. It just continues on. After the dinner party, Jason Chu and Daniela get a little bit cozier, and Daniela Prime asks, "Hey, something's off. I I like it, but it seems like you're overdoing things. Like you just don't seem to be who you were a few days ago." So at that point, Jason Chu sits her down and is like, "Okay, here's the deal. When a few days ago, when I was out at the bar, I almost got hit by a taxi. So it's the point he sees the point when he's using some reality. It's always good to have a good when you tell a lie, have some truth in it, so that you can always kind of sort of go back to that point as your totem to like this is going to center me in this lie. Don't lie, folks. He uses that and says, "Hey, that was a life altering experience. Like I thought I was going to die, and because of that, I've now decided to value everything that is in my life, you included. So I now am looking at everything with a very different lens than I looked at before, just to kind of give him a little bit of a leeway to sort of explain some of the things that have occurred. It doesn't explain why he's using the wrong toothbrush or why he doesn't know any of his friends or why he's asking his son, like, hey, who are these people? But neither here nor there. It's also important to note that the Blair that he that I think everybody keeps speaking about in Earth Two or alternate two is at that party too. But there's no, it's not there. It's not the version that he knows because she doesn't pick him up either, or that they're like, hey, we're the ones from different timelines. They put Jason Prime and Ryan in the room together, and it's at that point that Jason Prime tells Ryan that they killed Daniela too. He freaks out a little bit, partially because he also feels responsible. It's like I'm the one they use me to get to you guys, and it's like this isn't on you. This isn't your fault. You didn't know what they were going to do. Um, and it's at that point that he's like, "You're the key." Jason Prime was telling Ryan too that you're the key. Like there's something that I've given you in that allows this box to work, and I can't quite put my freaking finger on it. Like I don't know how it works. It's at that point that Ryan toots him like I created the matter, the stuff that goes into your system to basically shut off the prefrontal cortex, basically put you to sleep for an hour, so that you are not aware of your surroundings when you sort of get I think I forgot the word is I want to say decoherent is the word they keep using. When you become decoherent, um, your brain shuts off, so you won't be aware of it. And so the drug allows that to sort of occur when you go inside the box. The box is there to stop uh, others from decoherenting. Not a word, sure. Um, from doing that when they observe somebody who is doing it. So it's a way to protect others' brains from they're not supposed to see that when it occurs. If they do, something happens to their brain. So it's done in the box to keep everything sort of protected, both for them and for the people that are inside. Amanda sneaks into Jason's room once Ryan's gone and says, "Yo, we gotta get up out of here. We need to escape. We need to get the hell up out of here." And Jason Prime immediately is like, "Well, what about Ryan too?" She's like, "I'm sorry, I can't save you both. I gotta save you. You're the one I'm here for." They turn the camera. She's already turned the cameras off in the room, and then they just start trying to book it out. As they're making their escape up the elevator opens for a minute, and Leighton with Dawn sees them. Leighton gets a punch in the face while the elevator closes, and they make their way up to the floor where the box is, and they try to go. Amanda's basically making a beeline for the box. Amanda's credentials are already blocked, so she can't get in there. But for some reason, this seems a bit odd. But they didn't take out Jason's yet. I I don't know why that is. Like Amanda, if she just took him away, then they just had to immediately do that. Why wouldn't when they saw that she was with a man with Jason? I don't know why his were. It's the only thing so far. Yes, there are scientific questions that you always have with sci-fi, but it's the only thing that logically I'm like, that seems odd. Why Jason stuff would still work, but for the purpose of the story, it happens. They open up the door, and Jason and Amanda make their way into the box. They get some matter, they get the vests or whatever they have to do to get inside the box. They make their way into the box, and they're able to close it right before Leighton and Dawn sort of get there. Dawn loses a couple of fingers actually as the door closes. So Jason Prime and Amanda 2. I guess Amanda 1 because I don't know the other Amanda, but Jason Prime and Amanda take the dark matter, and then they prep for whatever the hell that means. And Jason's kind of like, well, what happens? Like, are they going to be there on the opposite side of that door? Like, where do we go? And Amanda's like, I don't care as long as wherever we go to, Leighton and that crazy bitch and outside the door. Like, that's literally all she cares about. The alarm goes off after 3 minutes, and and now it's time to exit the box. However, the box, when they awake, they're now just in this very, very, very long corridor. Well, damn. One of the last things that happens with Jason 2, there's a scene where he is at the house. He's basically just trying to store up and get as much knowledge about the family and what some of the specifics of like what sort of small intricacies that we have. So he's watching home videos, and comes across 2 birth certificates. One with Charlie with footprints, and one with Maximilian with footprints. We obviously know Charlie grew up, but there was clearly another kid that was here that is not raised or is not born. It's interesting that they hung on that and stuck with that. I am curious to see what that means. I don't know if like there's another timeline version of a child out there somewhere. If he's now going to try to collect every piece of what he's supposed to, like, hey, I went and got our other kid, because he seems kind of mad now. I feel like seething with power, and say, hey, I got away with it. So it's going to be interesting to see how long he's able to sort of keep up the ruse. Because here's the thing: there's no, as far as I can tell, there's no velocity that has been created, no team or group that has been created in the Prime world to sort of keep track of Jason 2. He sort of is able to do what he wants. What I'm into is seeing how long it takes before Jason Prime can get back to Jason 2 to sort of set the record straight before it's too late. Because I feel like with Charlie, he might be willing to get back to his dad, but Daniela is really feeling everything that Jason 2 is giving, because it's a weird thing that happens in relationships as you are in it for a while. I won't say become stale, but it becomes different. It's like you're with your best friend. She's at that point in life where that's what she was expecting, and now she's sort of getting hit with somebody who is now coming in as the puppy dog, as the new lover, and so everything that's happening is new to her. It feels different, and so I think it would be easy to say like you can't tell that that's not your Jason, but I think it just feels so fresh and so full for her that even if she does have questions, I'm just going to ride it out, um, literally and figuratively. That's the episode. The box, fantastic. We got Jason and Amanda stuck in a new world that we don't know, and we're gonna get our eyes open when the next episode starts. Luckily for me, episode 4 is already out. I've not seen it yet. I wanted to do this one and go in blind on this recording before I go watch the new one. So I'm going to go watch that now and then get these up back to back. What did you guys think about this episode 3 of Dark Matter, called The Box? Please leave your thoughts and comments in the comments below. If you haven't already, you can follow us on Twitter at HollywoodADI. You can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. We also have a podcast with the same name that's on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, any other place podcasts. We're there. And like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.